So I have questions for you. What's holding you back? What's stopping you from operating the way you want to? Anyone? Results expectations? The expectation to deliver results all the time, is that what you're saying? Yeah, okay. Cool. Anything else? Anyone else? The strategy isn't concrete enough? Yep. Anyone else? Powerful stakeholders who know what's best for the customer. Anyone else? Exceptions keep coming up. Too many fires to fight. Too many dependencies. Excellent. One thing that often comes up when I ask this question to people is managers. And you've said stakeholders. I just want a quick show of hands. Does that resonate with anyone? Does anyone feel that that's kind of some of the problem? That might be your manager, might be the CEO, could be your manager's manager. It could be the chief product officer or chief technology officer, head of marketing, head of sales, someone else's manager, right? Often it's these senior people, senior leaders in the organization who are holding us back from operating the way we want to. We want to be empowered. We want to make these decisions. We want to do discovery. We want to discover the solutions. We want to implement them. Oh, but my goodness, there's some sort of manager over there who wants their feature, their idea, their way of doing things, their roadmap. So don't worry, there's an easy solution to all this. Just give them a copy of Transformed and everything's dandy, right? Who has anyone tried that? Or is anyone's managers or anyone in your organization, has Transform done the rounds? Is it well known generally? Or maybe not. Maybe it's not that well known, right? So the question is, why did it work? Well, given you haven't done it, hasn't worked. This book has been out for a while. It's quite popular. Oh, yeah, you did it. Did it work? Did? Oh, well, we should talk later on. But generally, just usually, how big is your organization? 200. Oh, that's good. Okay, wow. Okay, cool. So talk to him later on and he'll tell you everything that I don't know. But the point generally is that in most cases, it doesn't work. And I want to tell you a secret, right? This is a secret that a lot of product managers don't know. And I'm not quite sure if Marty Kagan knows this, as an example. Your CEO doesn't care about product. They don't care about product. They don't care about discovery. They don't care about testing. They don't care about, well, I've written down things down here, roadmaps and features. They don't care. They don't care about projects. They don't care about Agile. They don't care about Java or C. There's a whole lot of things they don't care about, right? In some cases they do, especially when they've come up from that function, whatever the function is. They do care about sales. They probably haven't heard of, they don't care about your product operating model. They probably haven't heard of it. They know less than you guys. They don't care about Marty Kagan. They haven't heard of him. So what's going on? They probably never will, right? Realistically. And this is where it can get a bit controversial for an audience of product people. That's okay. It's okay. They don't care, and that's okay. In fact, that's how it should be. I see an eyebrows being raised. So this is a bit controversial because realistically, we are in our little part of the organization. It could be a big part. We're often told product is the product manager is the CEO of the product, right? And all that sort of stuff. However, the CEO's job, and we can talk about the product triad or quad or whatever you want to talk about. Discover customer problems, identify solutions to the problems, address the 4 key risks, the viability. I'm gonna make a fool out of myself by forgetting it. Viability, feasibility, usability, and value. Value, is that right? They're the 4 that Marty always talks about. Sorry, I always put myself on the spot by not having it on the slide. But basically, address these 4 key risks, especially the 2 that matter, the viability and value, and create products that customers love, which works for the business. That's basically what we're trying to do in our product function. And I'm just checking my time. How much have I got? Oh, that's great. CEO's job, and other leaders and managers, set the strategy, where to play and how to win. If you read strategy books, there's a great book about that. But set the strategy. Some people say set the vision, right? Set the direction. Get the right people in the right roles. Keep enough money in the bank to pay everyone, right? And execute. This is one that's often forgotten, but it's a chief executive officer. They actually have to make it happen, right? Their job is not just to sit in an ivory tower and go, here's our strategy and vision. Everyone go. They're involved in execution. And what's interesting is that the hardest part of both of these jobs is getting everyone aligned, right? That's the hardest part in product. We used to have this saying, I was at Google for 6 years, and my friend and I there had this saying that if it wasn't for our colleagues, this job would be easy. If it wasn't for all the people we need to deal with, this job would be easy because it's so much fun. We have so many resources. We have customers. We have value. Oh my goodness, but we've got to deal with legal. We've got to deal with partnerships. We've got to deal with marketing and these engineering teams that have other things on their minds. My goodness. Anyway, so it's the same problem across the board. And what's interesting, by the way, is when we look up at the CEO, we tend to see someone who's all powerful. But the hard thing about being a CEO is not making these decisions. We look at the decisions our CEOs make. We say, oh my goodness, come on, make these decisions. It's not that hard. The hard part is that they have 50, 100, 5,000 people who they have to get aligned with all this. And most of those people think they have their own ideas. That's the hard part. So getting people aligned is the hard thing, right? Both these roles. Now, one of the things that often happens with this is when we think of the CEO's job, what the CEO is trying to do, the value we're trying to create, people say, but the product operating model, or how we do things in product, doing things the product way, helps the CEO do all that, you know? But we have the solution. We have the solution for this, right? So this is something that we often think. Now, I realize now that I've seen the start of this presentation with that survey, not all of you know much about the product operating model. That's okay. You all know about product management and how we're doing product. That's all you need to think about. So never mind product operating model. Doing things in our product managing way, discovery, strategy, all that sort of stuff is the way to do this. Yes, it kind of is, right? But imagine you're a product manager. We can do this, right? Because we're product managers. Imagine you're a product manager for operating in the product way in the company. That's the thing that you have, right? So we're going to do some customer discovery. And I'm going to talk through a couple of situations that I've had where we've done this. And what I want you to think about in your own situations is, what problems does the CEO want to solve? What problems do they want to solve? Now, as a product manager, we're often looking for customer problems and trying to solve customer problems. And when we solve customer problems, we give them a product that solves their problems. That motivates them to buy our product. You're changing their behavior by solving their pain, right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? Now, there's a difference because we're not making a product out of this, but still, same thing. So I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. The first one, and I'm going to get a glass of water before I do, because otherwise I'm going to be talking through sand, is a customer of mine who is a Series C unicorn CEO. He complained, our team is so slow. In fact, it's exactly the same. You might have had the same client because he said the same thing. He said the same thing. To be fair, this is a really common story. We used to deliver more value with 10 people than we do now with 100 people. In his case, I think it was 5 people and 500 people, but it was worse. Anyway, we have this problem and we have bad alignment. So I've done the snail picture there, right? So we have this problem. That's our problem. That's what we're coming to. Now, in this case here, the interesting thing is when I come into this organization, it's not that hard to see what the problems really are here. They've got the CEO who's declaring we don't want to do these projects, we don't want these features, and we're changing our mind here and there. And the product manager, the product leader, the VP, and the product team engineering. His job was to serve the business. Interesting challenge. So what we did in this situation is we found a particular pain point. We spent some time on strategy, spent some time with the executive team. Am I talking too fast, by the way? No? Okay, I have a habit of doing so. I've got to slow myself down a little. So we talked to the team and we found out what's really holding you back in your business. What's the biggest pain point, the biggest problem? In this particular case, they had a service that was producing labels, let's say, or bits of data for their customers. Every customer, when they bought a thing, had to have a piece of data produced. And it was really slow. It was like once a second. We could only do one every second. And that was the thing that was the one thing that was holding them back. So the CEO had said, we need to make that service faster. It currently takes 1 second. We need it to take about 0.01 second or something like that, like dramatically faster. Engineering teams are like, oh, this is going to take us like 6 months or 8 months or 10 months or something. It's going to be a big project of half the team. We're going to have to get half the team on this. We're not able to deliver any value until we do this thing because it's massive. We've got to rewrite a whole lot of stuff. It's a synchronous system. I hope that word is making sense to you, but it's just a synchronous system and it's really hard to fix. And we can't do it. And of course, at the same time, sales is pulling off in this direction and product in that direction, engineering in this direction, and they're saying technical debt and so on. So we got them all in the room and said, okay, well, what's really happening here? What are you trying to do? We ended up getting them focused on talking about what the real problem was. The real problem was that a customer needed to produce this piece of data. They didn't need it that fast, but they needed a lot more of these pieces of data because they need a lot more customers. The customer doesn't mind if it's a bit slower, as long as that happens within a reasonable amount of time. But you need, when you scale up to thousands of customers, you have a problem, right? Or millions of customers. So we discovered, they're like, now they got all of the people, the engineering teams and the product people and the sales and marketing, and not everyone, but a subset of them, in a room discussing this problem. And they realized we could use an asynchronous solution to do the same thing. And hey, we actually have one. It works. We just have to convert everyone else to use that piece of the API, and it'll just work. 2 weeks work. No worries. So why am I telling you that? The problem here is that the solution to the problem that they had was getting everyone in the room and empowering the team to solve the real customer problem. Get them to understand what's really going on. Don't give them a task. Don't give them a technical problem to solve or a feature. Give them a real problem, a real business customer problem. Help them understand what it is, and they'll come up with a solution. So when they did that, they're like, oh, wow, that saved us like 9 months. That's like a business saving. Like when, as in, could have saved the business. That's what I mean, right? So that was the solution to that. When we did this, I have to scroll down here. After doing this, what they realized then is if we generalize this, if we do this for other things, if we empower people with more problems and more understanding of customers to be able to discover the right solutions, then things start to work better. Did we use the term product model? No. Did we use the term discovery? No, not in the management context, because what they're interested in is, how do I solve my business problem, right? How do I make sure it works? What happens in this situation normally is the CEO knows what the business problem is and expresses it in the wrong terms, right? To people who then go, okay, I can solve that problem. I think I've got a business problem because the CEO said it, right? And it's the same problem with salespeople, with sales teams and customers and so on like that. And the challenge here is really about understanding how you get everyone in the room to actually create more value or solve a bigger problem in that one hit by demonstrating it, by starting with something that causes them pain, right? If you just do that on a toy, it's not going to make a difference. It has to be something that matters. Second problem, a leading furniture retailer. I'm not telling you who it is. Our e-commerce system isn't working well. This is a franchise that they had in a foreign country. It's quite a long way away from here, in Southeast Asia actually. And they were saying it's not working well. Now, they brought me in to help them look at their e-commerce systems because I was at Amazon for a couple of years, so I understand e-commerce, or at least they thought I did. So I went there and we look at this thing and say, okay, interesting. You've got really high basket size, high order value. It's working well. It's growing fast. It's high revenue. What's not working? What's the thing that isn't working? Well, it's kind of working well. And when I talk to the team, they're doing discovery. They're doing all this producty kind of work, understanding things and so on. That's working well. But the rest of the organization is kind of rejecting this new feature. Right? So why is this? But you go walking around, you do all these things, you find the tea lights, you find all these bits and pieces and so on, and you write them all down. Then you go and eat meatballs, right? And they're really cheap, surprisingly cheap, and they're not bad, I think. You go and eat meatballs, you get more energy, your kids play in the play equipment. You go down and you go to what they call the marketplace, you walk through there and you pick up all your tea lights. That's where you get all those bits and pieces. And then you go through to the self-service section and you pick up the big flat pack things, you go and buy them, you put them in your car, you drive home, and you put them all together, and hey presto, I've got all the stuff. Now, what happens interestingly is when you make your own furniture, you love it more. You like it more. It's weird, it can be badly made, but I did that. Right? And so I have this emotional attachment to this furniture and all this stuff. So this means that the customers love the product, right? All the way the whole thing is set up is to upsell you on those small little trinkets and bits and pieces, because they're high margin. The bookshelf is low margin. They don't make money from bookshelves. In fact, in many cases, they have products that are specifically loss leaders, and they sell a lot of them, and that's okay, because they also sell meatballs are loss leaders, and so are the hot dogs, right? But that's okay, because they sell a lot of them, but then everyone buys tea lights. right? So, or candles or whatever it is. So we buy those things. Now you look at how this works in e-commerce. Oh, by the way, all of this is optimized so that they just have a delivery of boxes and put it in there and everything just works smoothly. Do it in e-commerce and you have to have people having orders. First of all, you go to a website and I'm not walking around a whole store. I'm searching bookshelf, add to cart, right? Done, check out. It's a bit annoying, it's a bit slow, but actually I've got all the things that I wanted because I've got the bookshelf. Did I look at tea lights? No. Did I look at the lights? Maybe. Did I look at the cupboard doors? Oops, I forgot. All that sort of stuff. So their basket size is high because people buy big products and not the little ones. Profit margin's really low. In the store, they have to have people walking around during the day because at night they're busy repacking everything, restocking everything, with trolleys doing all the things customers do. So they're paying their own people to do the work of the customers, which is really inefficient because you've been there, right? It's not efficient. And if you're buying things like mugs, you pick up the mugs and put them in your basket, and you go to the store to the car and you put them in your car. If you're posting mugs, you have to wrap them individually and then find a box, and it's a horrible, horrible, inefficient process. So the upshot of all this is that their product management was actually working really well, at least on the front end side of it as far as e-commerce goes. However, the more successful they were, the less successful the business is because this creates massive overhead across the whole business and it's really low margin and it's really high cost, right? So what do we do about this? We got them to think about, what does this mean from a business perspective? Like what are you actually trying to achieve here? Because their product was working well, but as a business it wasn't. So we had to get the product team to sort of elevate their thinking to the business level of like, what are we actually trying to achieve here? How do we make something that works for us? Why am I saying that? Because the thing that's happening, the pain that was happening in the organization was all this rest of the organization rejecting it. The interpretation from the product side was that these people don't get product. These people don't get e-commerce. The reality is the product team didn't get the business, right? So think about how this works in your own business. Especially if you're in one of those businesses that has multiple channels, do you get the business? Does your CEO think you get the business? Last one I want to talk about is me and this other guy with my haircut, Marty. So we wrote a article together, you may have seen it. When we were writing this article, we were talking about the product model at Amazon, because I was at Amazon for a few years. So we're like, hey, let's write about the product model at Amazon, that'll be interesting. So we wrote this article and there's no product leaders at Amazon. The product model has these, so you have a CPO or you have a VP of product and a product leader, and then some product managers, and they work with engineering over here, who works with like, operations and then all that sort of stuff. Amazon doesn't work like that, right? Amazon is really distributed and there's no product leaders. But what happens actually at Amazon is that all of the managers, what time is it? So I wanted to say that because sometimes your organization has to be different to what it says in the book. That's okay, right? It's okay to do that. The question really is, are decisions being made in a way that's informed by product thinking? And the best people in many cases, and this is if you're thinking about your own career as a product leader or product manager, to get to that level of in the organization, as Sebastian and Marty said, it's about upskilling, not just product owner to product manager. I'm sorry. I'm going to just keep working for a few minutes. Not just product owner to product manager or something like that, but understanding how your business makes decisions and being able to make decisions like your business makes decisions so that you can have that conversation, understand their pain points. Last little bit, and the point here is that pain motivates change. If you want to change something, understand their pain, right? All of these things are about the pain in the organization, the pain in the management team, and so on. So think of it from a product management perspective. Vitamins, do things the product way, it's better. Painkiller. If you're a product manager and you're making a vitamin, it's not going to sell that well. Making a painkiller, people have pain. Pain motivates change. Pain motivates buying. Pain motivates change in your organization. So see if you can figure out how to take the toolkit of things that is in product leadership, product operating model, and apply that to solving the pain points of your organizations. Whenever I go to a company, my first thing is to talk to the leaders, understand what pains do they have, and then I look in my toolkit, product and various other things, to see how I solve those solutions, those things, and often that looks like the product operating model. This is me. If you want to work with me, that's my email, my website spelled correctly. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I do help people transform to the product model. I help people with leadership operating system, like working with managers and so on. These two things are actually the same, but this is how product people think. This is how managers think, right? This is all about strategy, goals, plans, deliver results, review the business with a high-performing team. That's what I do with CEOs and with executive teams. I help people with OKRs, strategy, planning and aligning, all these sorts of things. It's all on my website. Help you with high-performance teams, interviews, methods and all that sort of stuff, and coaching. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, hit me up on LinkedIn or on richardrussell.co. And I'm also building for leaders, scaleupleaders.net, if you're interested in joining a network of community senior leaders from scale-ups around the world. I'm building this at the moment. Go to the website, check it out. All right, thanks very much. Sorry I went over.
Loved it.